In the Celtic myth, the Peck were gnome-like creatures, short but powerful. They brewed heather ale and battled against the Scottish people. There is one tale where an old and infirm Peck asks to feel the arm muscles of a burly young man. When the lad pranks the elderly Peck by putting a metal cup between his fingers, the Peck shatters the metal cup with his fingertips. Famous for their ability to work stone, the Peck were said to be the builders of all the stone megaliths of ancient Scotland, along with the giants and their allies the Pickets and the Pixies. In Dungeons & Dragons lore, the Peck are a species of small humanoids who don't get a lot of attention. They kind of prefer it that way, to be fair. But I am guessing you've probably never heard of this race, who are found in some quiet areas of the Underdark, which are very much like the rural shires of the hobbits. Most Peck in the multiverse live within the vast elemental plane of Earth. They are well adapted to life in a mineral ecosystem. Though they may not have originated there, they are now considered native to the border regions, where the solid zones of the plane interact with the para and quasi-elemental planes. Even deeper, in the stable zone, they can be found in sprawling communities within the vast tunnels left behind by titanic burrowing creatures, sometimes in very self-contained ecosystems, which they bring with them and cultivate over thousands of years. Nothing is entirely stable within the plane of Earth though, and they are well practiced at rebuilding everything after massive earthquakes, floods, giant elementals and wandering wildlife destroy their idyllic habitats time and time again. They often migrate to new places when their population grows or something else forces them to move on. They're known for being remarkably stoic and reserved, never complaining, not a rash or emotive race, just very peaceful, not very interested in the affairs of other beings. Meeting a Peck face to face, they stand about 3 to 4 feet tall, with a stout build but quite long arms and proportionately large hands. Their skin often has a stony appearance and has tones of grey to brown, which allows them to blend quite well with Underdark environments. Though where they live, most creatures don't see in colours anyway, only shades of grey from their infravision, or shapes, sounds and vibrations from blind sense and echolocation. One thing the statistics won't tell you is that along with excellent dark vision, the Peck learn to locate more distinct features of their environment by the echoes they can decipher with an excellent sense of hearing. Peck carry tools fashioned from stone, crystal and a wide variety of fungus, woods and fungal textiles. They can eat all sorts of things, from edible slimes to fungus spores and insect meat. Most of the villages will have fungus cultivation, insect farms, ponds stocked with crustaceans and fish, and pens with deep rothae, reptiles, steeder spiders and all sorts of other livestock. They travel great distances across the Underdark and the plane of Earth to trade these vital goods to all kinds of different communities, but as I said, they are a very reserved and withdrawn culture, so they shy away from interaction that's not focused on commerce or some situation where working in cooperation is vital for mutual survival in the face of some sort of disaster or joint dire enemy. Peck are known to hunt quite a few species of creatures that are also native to the plane of Earth, such as the Karga, which is a monster version of the Zorn, and they are one of the few humanoid species that can not just harvest valuable minerals from, but also eat lithivore species. That's critters that can eat rocks and minerals. Younger Peck, like almost every intelligent species, often are a little more curious and reckless, with the sense that they know all there is to know and the local scene is just too dull for them. So it is usually younger Peck who you will find offering their services to other species as most excellent guides and hirelings who have a knack for handling pack animals and wildlife of the Underdark. The best way to describe the young adventurous Peck is, well, they look a bit like Dobby, the house elf from Harry Potter, spent the summer getting tanned and lifting weights, and grew a rather ragged head of wiry dark hair and dresses in their own efficient handmade clothing. Peck don't deliberately wash. They get soaked often enough in the Underdark and will swim in ponds harvesting fish and cave shrimp, or in dry environments they will soothe irritated skin with salves with a mixture of plant oils and animal fats. Even so, they may have a rich scent but not an unpleasant one, and are also skilled at masking their odour when moving through the territory of creatures sensitive to the scent of prey or predator. It's likely that a Peck will be amused at travelling companions who are not well equipped or aware of when they should be wary of scent or sound or some such, reluctantly sharing a pot of paste or a pouch of powder, but expecting fair compensation if the companion keeps using up their personal resources. Peck are extraordinarily skilled stoneworkers and can often manipulate stone and earth in ways that seem magical to outsiders. This includes the ability to pass through stone, to mend or shape it, or even cause it to move, and they're also known to have a connection to the rhythms and vibrations of the earth. A Peck can have a distant conversation with another in the Underdark by tapping, drumming, or leaving complex marks and scents on surfaces. And someone very familiar with their culture will know that the sprawling gardens, pens, and ponds in their villages are also libraries and signposts for them. Every mushroom, lichen, and slime has another meaning in their language, and they may also make humming and tapping sounds when they talk. A Peck stomping his foot is the equivalent of a person getting others' attention with a polite or excuse me. And a clear sign of their sharp frustration is when they clap their hands together. But it can also mean that was hilarious or you're an idiot. And much like many Polynesian cultures, they can express quite a lot of meaning with a simple hissing sound. It's all about the nuance. Conflict with the Peck is usually due to outsiders mistakenly disrupting or damaging things that are important to them. This can include disruptions to air and the water flow, killing off wildlife, introducing or riling up predatory species, disrupting local trade, or harvesting local resources in a greedy and inconsiderate fashion, something they run into problems with kobolds, dwarves, and Fomorians reasonably reliably. Peck will just leave Dark Elves, Dero, Durga, Mindflayers, Kotoa, and other hostile races to themselves, but are fond of deep gnomes and even get along well as can be expected with Germalane, mites, and other diminutive and fey species that others consider to be notorious pests. Peck as player characters should be quite possible in Underdark or Planescape adventures. In fact, if you check out my Patreon page, you'll see that I've listed some player character stats so that you can easily play the Peck as a player character race, including a Faerunian and a Planar version subraces. They are common enough to the plane of Earth and the para-elemental planes. They can be found in many locations in the Underdark of Faerun and the Underworld of Greyhawk. But I don't think anyone's ever done any sort of a serious census to determine just how many there are. Who knows? They could exist in much greater numbers than anyone currently suspects. You never know with the Peck. Those of you familiar with the exploits of the Dark Elven Ranger Dristu Erden may recall a Peck who was transformed against his will into a form of Hookora by some bastard wizard. Clacker, as he became known, had a rather sorry fate, and there does tend to be an undue amount of abuse and scorn heaped on the Peck from other cultures in the Underdark, which is very unfair. I mean, have you seen the Chitane? And they don't often have anyone step in to help them. So, an easy way to gain some particularly useful friends in the otherwise quite dangerous world below is to simply take a stand against anti-Peck racism and defend these peaceful little folk, even if they do look a little bit weird and have a sort of a grumpy look on their face all the time. For more in-depth information on all sorts of creatures in the D&D multiverse, subscribe to my channel and click on the notification bell. My name is AJ. As always, thanks for listening, and I'll be back with more for you very soon.